In the spirit of the Euros, you know, that competition that comes around once every 4 years and makes us forget our hatred for certain players, all in the name of pubs, beer, and the chance to shout that something is returning to our houses at the top of our lungs, I'm heading over to Germany to look into one of the most talked about leagues in world football, the Bundesliga. Since 1903, the German footballing world has been a staple of European football, barring its cancellation during World Wars I and II, and has become a division which has boasted some of the world's best players and teams. And while it may feel at points like Bayern Munich have a stranglehold over Germany like some sort of lederhosen wearing boa constrictor, they aren't the only side to have won the division. And while it's easy to talk about obvious teams like Borussia Dortmund or the newly crowned champions Bayer Leverkusen, it's more interesting looking into the league's crypt and digging up the remnants of the past. Welcome to Good Sport Reviews. My name is Lewis, and this is 10 teams that you forgot won the German league title. And hey, if you like the sound of this video, then go check out our other videos we've done here at Good Sport Reviews, like the 10 sides who have never played in the Premier League, or 10 one-season wonders. Go give them a watch and click subscribe, you sausage. Number 10, Union 92 Berlin. So, a bit of history. When the German championships were founded in 1903, it wasn't in a league form. It was instead a multitude of leagues from around the country, all competing to win their division, and the winners of each of those leagues would enter the German footballing championship, where they would compete for the Victoria, which we now know as the Bundesliga. And by the way, just look at that trophy. It looks like something your nan would have in the front garden. The winners of the Brandenburg Football Championships, Blauweib 90, I'm going to apologise for a lot of the pronunciation now while I still have the chance, entered the German championships, beating Eintracht Braunschweig 4-1 before facing Karlsruhe FV in the final, winning the match 2-0 thanks to goals from Wegenseil and Herzog, the latter of whom ended up as the top scorer of the tournament with 4 goals. And also something to note is that the match was played in front of 3,500 people, I imagine to the lofty sounds of silence. The club no longer exists after several relegations and only one Bundesliga to their name, with the side declaring bankruptcy in 1992, but no one can take away their league achievement all those years ago. Number 9, Eintracht Braunschweig, semi-finalists in 1905, winners in 1966. Don't worry everyone, it does take time to achieve your goals. And speaking of goals, there was a lack of them here, with Eintracht Braunschweig winning the Bundesliga after only scoring 49 in 34 matches. I'm sorry. The main reason for this mid-table side winning the league was down to their incredible defensive record, with the side located near the border of the Soviet occupation zone, only conceding 27 goals and puffing out their chest, standing up to the big boys and saying, kindly refrain from winning that title, good sir, I will be taking that. Mind you, the Bundesliga this season was a mess, with runners-up 1860 Munich having been 17th after 1/3 of the season, only to fire themselves up the table like they had a rocket up their arse, and the team that would eventually cocoon into Thanos, Bayern Munich, finishing in 6th place of all things. The league just felt a bit everywhere this season, so credit to Eintracht for taking advantage of this. Number 8, VfB Manheim. Mannheim is a funny name. It sounds like the German version of Superman, and that's what the 1949 German Footballing Championship felt like. Super. VfB Manheim entered the competition as runners-up of the Oberliga division ahead of Bayern Munich and behind kickers Offenbach, and went on to win the goddamn thing. How's about that? They then thrashed Hamburg 5-0 in the Wall Stadium before beating their league rival kickers Offenbach 2-1 in the semi-finals, and then facing Borussia Dortmund in the final, in a match that ended 3-2 after extra time, with 3 goals being scored between the 74th minute and the 85th minute. I mean, that's what you call excitement, an underdog story, high scoring matches, and a near last minute winner. The side didn't achieve those heights again, sadly, with the club suffering multiple relegations and financial turmoil. They currently occupy the Verbandsliga Nordbaden, which is the 6th division in Germany, so they are essentially the Oldham Athletic of that country, except they can boast more top flight titles. I'm sorry, Oldham. Number 7, Fryberg FC. Fryberg is a funny name. It sounds like the German version of burger, and that's what the 1907 German Footballing Championship felt like. Burger. Freiburger FC entered the competition after winning the Southern German Championship and were placed into the tournament with only 5 other teams, with this being the standard up until 1925, when the runners-up also qualified for the event. Freiburg would face VfB Leipzig in the semi-finals, winning 3-2 before a jam-packed stadium of 3,000 saw them beat Victoria 89 Berlin in the final 3-1, with goals from Burkhardt and Glasser sealing the deal. Fun fact, Joseph Glasser also competed at the 1912 Summer Olympics and was in the German Olympic squad, playing one match as a midfielder, the busy lad. Much like many teams on this list, Fryberg has suffered multiple relegations and financial ruin, with the only way out seeming to be a union with another club. They seem to be doing better in recent years, achieving a couple of promotions as they currently play Oberliga, which is the 5th tier of German football, and maybe one day they'll be back in the top flight, but at least they still have the memory of this title win. Number 6, Rapid Vienna. The 1941 tournament was bloody crazy. So going into this, Schalke had won 5 of the last 7 titles, aiming to win their 3rd in a row at the tournament, which took place the same day that Nazi Germany invaded the Soviet Union in Operation Barbarossa. Rapid Vienna gained entry to this competition by winning the Gauliga Ostmark and were placed into Group 3, of which they finished top with 9 points, beating 1860 Munich, Stuttgarter Kickers and VfL Neckarau to the top. They then faced Dresner SC in the semi-finals, which they won 2-1, and then beat the favourite Schalke 4-3 in what many describe as one of the best games in German football history. A hat-trick from Franz Binder played a key part in this, and like any good story, the conspiracy theories follow, but the Schalke supporters claiming that Rapid were allowed to win to award a national championship to a side from the Ostmark, and people in Austria were claiming that the Rapid Vienna players were punished by being sent to the front lines of the war for winning the final. A cheery time for all involved, eh? Football, the beautiful game. Both were proved to be false, and Rapid Vienna victory remains an incredibly important one, but it's one that is often glanced over. Number 5, Holon Kiel. The side who last season gained promotion to the Bundesliga for the first time were at one stage a dominant force in northern Germany, winning 6 regional titles, and while this upcoming season will be their first in the Bundesliga, that doesn't mean they've never tasted success in the top competition, as back in 1912, the Storks won the tournament by beating Karlsruhe FV 1-0 in the final, thanks to a penalty from Ernst Muller. I mean, bloody hell. If the 1941 final was a high-scoring, exciting affair, then this one was anything but. It's like going from Rocky Road to Vanilla Ice Cream, or going from Luis Suarez to Mario Balotelli. Sorry viewers. Holon Kiel have sort of bounced between the German divisions, most notably between 2 and 3, but now they've reached the top flight, it's time for people to mention their history once again and see what the former champions can do. Number 4, Fortuna Dusseldorf, the club that were founded back in 1895. Fortuna Dusseldorf can boast 2 Bundesliga, 2 league titles, 2 DFB Pokals, and 3 Intertoto Cups, the greatest of honours. I know Newcastle fans absolutely love their Intertoto Cup and class it as a major piece of silverware in their history. The side who set the record for being relegated to the 4th tier and then working their way back up to the Bundesliga between 2004 and 2012 actually won the German football title back in 1933 and finished runners-up in 1936, and their one and only league win is a massive part of their history. This was the last tournament before the 16 Gauligas were introduced, meaning more teams entered the competition, and the side played Schalke, who were going into their golden period where they'd reach every final until 1942, bar one tournament. And in front of 60,000 fans, Fortuna Dusseldorf beat Schalke 3-0 and went through the whole tournament without conceding a goal and scored 16 along the way, which is ludicrous in and of itself. One and done for the club. They wouldn't achieve this height of success again, but after finishing 3rd in Division 2 last season, things are looking up for the once champions. Number 3, Dresner SC, a back-to-back winner. Oh my. The team who won back-to-back German Cups in 1940 and 1941 continued their fine form by winning the first of the 2 titles. The 1943 title was after the competition had expanded to 29 teams following the expansion of the territories from Nazi Germany and the subdividing of the Gauligas in later years. They completed this season unbeaten and actually 100%ed it by winning all 18 league games in their campaign and all 5 in the competition. Like a kid 100% Crash Bandicoot, which I've been told on good authority, the kids still play as I'm still young, you can tell here. The following competition was where things got a lot of, shall we say, difficult, as the ongoing conflict across Europe meant that this championship finals featured a lot of military-based teams competing in the final from the Luftwaffe. Helmut Schön, who would actually go on to coach Germany at the 1974 World Cup, finished as top scorer of this competition with 14 goals as he led his side to glory at the 1944 tournament, the last of which was to take place during World War II, and before the contest would be postponed until 1948. Not only that, but they were the final side to receive the Victoria Trophy before its disappearance during the final stages of the war. They beat LSV Hamburg in the final and cemented themselves as history at a time when football was a major distraction from the horrors of the real world. Number 2, FC Locomotive Leipzig. This is just another team with a great name, I'm sorry, but Locomotive Leipzig just sounds like the best steampunk German band ever. The side won 3 German Football League titles in 1903, 1906 and 1913, and can easily be forgotten about because of A, how long ago these wins were, and B, because the side have had several names since. They've been called VfB Leipzig, FC Locomotive, and FC Locomotive Leipzig. Rock and roll. The first official champions of the trophy, they beat DFC Prague 7-2 in the final, with Henrik Riso scoring a hat-trick in front of the capacity 2,000 fans. That's the last time I'll mention the amount of fans, I promise. The second came 3 years later when they beat FC Pforzheim 2-1, with Rise once again securing silverware for the club, and the last one came in 1913 when they flew through the tournament, winning their matches 5-0, 3-1 and finally 3-1 again in the final, beating Duisburger in convincing fashion. Maybe not a household name for a lot of people, but this club has a place in history for these historic wins and nowadays competes in the 4th tier of German football. Number 1, Grfurt. With a name like the Clover Leaves, it's disappointing they only won 3 league titles and not 4. Like a four-leaf club. Do you get? The side won the 1914, 1926 and 1929 championships. The first came when they beat the previous entry VfB Leipzig 3-2 in the final after an extra time goal from Weichs in the 104th minute. The second was won after a 3-1 victory against Hertha Berlin in a much more convincing result, it must be said. And the last one came when they won again and they beat Hertha Berlin again in the final, this time 3-2. And this also marked the 4th final in a row that Hertha lost. That's just cruel. Honestly, get the fans a beer, because at that point they're looking for a new sport to follow. The club operate currently in Bundesliga 2 after their relegation from the top flight in the 2021-22 season, and they finished last season in 8th place. So they aren't a million miles away from the top division, but they are a long way away from winning the German top division once again. And that's our list. If you are new around here, please make sure to hit like and subscribe. And I want to say thank you so much. We've finally reached 1,000 subscribers, so let's try and get to 2,000 by the end of the year. Make sure you click subscribe, and I will see you all in the next video.